back to my channel. My name is Cab and today I'm sharing with you guys my January wrap up. And first thing, that January is not a very well month for me. It was very gloomy, frustrated, upsetting month, but I wish the upcoming month will be a blast. And hope you guys having a very happy January, because this is the first month of the year and everyone wants to enjoy this, but mine was very bad. I read very good as well as very boring books this month, but this month I read a total 7 books, and some of them are very good and some of them were average, and I rated it on their basis. So let's get started with the books. And these books are not in any particular order and not in the rating sense, but I will tell you how much I rated all these books. Previous video that I just wanted to start this year with a very casual and a simple read. That's why I choose a book that is very light read and a very casual one as well, and that book is Gus Don't Cry by Gajra Kottary. And this is basically about Amla, who is a very young and talented girl who lives in Mumbai with her boyfriend, and she's independent and a happy woman. But once she just break up with her boyfriend, she just feel very bad, and at that same moment she find out that her grandfather had passed away. She was very upset with this news, and she has to go to her village to attend the funeral. And she does not want to go to the Jalandhar, that is her village, because her relationship with her mother was not very well. But she went to the Jalandhar just for her grandmother, and there she find out that what she was understanding about her mother or father is not the whole truth. She found out there is something that she never knows, and her grandmother just make her realize that she was not always right. This talk about the 3 generations of a woman, that is Amla, her grandmother, her mother, and it is a story of every middle class woman, because sometimes they are in the condition that they have to choose something which is just not of their kind, and they have to make sacrifices as well. This book so much talk about the women in our generation and in our country. They faces a lot of problems, and it also teaches us that books don't give us the knowledge that our elders can do, because there is something that our elders can only teach us, and we can't find those things in books only. So the relationship should be a very happy for every girl and woman, and they should be a friendly relations with their mother, grandmother, whatever they are in relation, but they should be a very friendly, so that they can share their unpleasant moments or their happiness with them. I really like this book. I enjoy reading it, and because it's talk about the books in every house of middle generation, I think, because there is always, this is the world of men's, and women have to suffer so much. That's why I like this book so much, and I just rated it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book in my list is Latitudes of Longings by Shubhangi Swarup, and this is the book that it was a very tough read for me. I did not get it in one reading. I think I need to read this book to understand the whole concept of this book. But this book is a kind of very I can say gloomy and sad. All the stories were, because this is mainly of the Andaman Sea and the areas that no one visit generally. This book is categorized in 4 different stories, that is islands, fault line, valley, and snow desert. The first story is of Girja Prasad and Chanda Devi. Girja Prasad is a scientist who read plants and soils, and Chanda Devi is the woman that can talk to spirits, and she just do unusual things. But these stories were something very deep meanings, and I honestly did not get it the whole story. But this was something that I think I need to read, and everyone should read, because the stories were so heart touching. And I like most of the things that when one story in the second story start instantly, and it doesn't feel like you are reading a new story, because when you are reading the first one, there is input of the second story or the third story, that you feel connected through all the stories. But there is 4 stories and all are connected. You first read with a new persons and new categories, but when you go through it. The last story connected all four the stories and is just bring tears to your eyes, how it is all defined in this book. And I personally did not like it that much, but I will give it 4 star because the story and the plots were so intensifying and so intriguing that you need to read it. The next book is recommended by my cousin, and I'm honored that he recommended me this book because I always love Indian mythology. And this book is Devlok by Devdutt Patnaiak, and there is 2 books, Devlok 1 and Devlok 2, and it's mainly talk about all the gods and goddesses in our world, and it's mainly Indian mythology that describe all the facts of the god and goddesses, their arrival. This book is written in a question and answer form, that there is a questions regarding the Indian mythology and there is answers which is written by Devdutt, and these were so good that if you don't know about Indian mythology and you want to know about it, then you should definitely check this book, because it's talk about each and everything that is on our earth or in our India, and it was described very deeply that if you don't know anything about Indian mythology, you will get everything in this book. There is some questions like why Pandavas are in hell and not in heaven, but they have done a lot of good things. They fought Kurukshetra for the good, and there is questions like who is Asur, who is God, who is goddesses, and these things just very important for the Indian mythology, because we always heard about this, that they are the bad people, they are the good people, there is heaven, there is hell, but who made these things and how it is differentiated, it's all talked about in this book, and that's why I like this book very much, and I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I received for review, and this book is In Love with Simran by Kulpreet Yadav, and this is the book that talk about the suspense and thrillers, and this is my most interesting topic. The title is Simran, but this book talk mainly about her best friend Sanjana, and Simran is her best friend, and one day she get murdered, and Sanjana just want to find out who the murderer is, and her one suspicion is on the Nick Sethi, that is the boyfriend of the Simran, and she just want to find out by her own that he has murdered, and she just want to figure out all the evidences against him. But when she meets Nick Sethi and she just to find out his nature, she just fall in love with him, and she don't know what she can do. And this is the thriller that I just loved, because I when I was reading this story, I never find out who the killer is, and that's the most fascinating things about this book, because if you know who the murderer is, the books get boring, and that's why I like this book so much. The thriller, suspense and the mystery in book is very good. I just feel connected to it till the last. The ending of book is not so good. I wish that it could be a better one, because it was a very simple as compared to the story. And the thing that I don't like is the character of Sanjana, because she just flipped from her boyfriend to best friend, and that thing irritates. But I end up giving it 4 star because this is a good one. And the next book is Circe by Madline Miller, and finally I read it, yay, because this was my most anticipated read, and I just wanted to read it from a very long time, and finally I read it. And this one I can say, wow, this is fantastic, and this was so fascinating, so admiring, that I just want to reread it because this was so good. And this is the story of Cersei, which she born in the house of Helios, god of sun. She does not born with a very beautiful face, and her cousins always tease her for her voice, because her voice was very thin, not like the goddesses that were there, and that's why she was always teased and feel bad for her look, and everyone was just rejecting her. Then she met a person that she fell in love with, and but he also deceived her when she turned him into immortal, and that thing hurt her most, and she started to do witchy things, and that's why she was exiled to a remote island for doing witchcraft. She started witchcraft in vengeance and disrespectful, but when she was exiled to the island all alone, she just figured out that this is her power, and she just tried to make it strong and strong. And her relations with mortals grew up. She raised herself and make her so powerful that she can fight to gods for mortals, and she can live her life with mortals, and that's why she is known as the witch of Aya, the island where she was exiled. And this story completely talks about the nature and the personality that we are, and when we feel rejected, all the vengeance that we want to do, but sometimes it lead us to a very great things, and Cersei find out that great thing. And this one is so good book that I think everyone should read. I end up giving it 5 out of 5 star. The last book that I read this month is Beyond a Mysterious Journey by Madhuparna Suman, and this is a kind of mystery fiction because this is the story of a couple, Nandini and Neelkan, and they were working person and they just get bored with their work, and they just decided to go to a trip, and they decided to choose a foreign country, that is Georgia. But there they find out that there is something spiritual, and they just went to explore the city. They were attracted to a mysterious castle, and when they went there, something happened that is totally different from their what they have thought. In the castle, Nandini get trapped, and Neelkan just want to save his wife, and he was told that he has to do something to save his wife, and he did things, and there he find out that there is a fight going on between a good spirit and bad spirit. And when I was reading the fight between spirits, it feel like the Avengers are fighting, and that's why I think it's looked funny, but it was not funny. And the end of the book was very good because I think it's going to be end very simply, but it was very fascinating and good. And I did not like this book that much, that's why I end up giving it 3.5 out of 5 star. So guys, these are the books that I read this January, and I really enjoyed this book. And how many books have you read? Tell me in the comment below.